अजीब दास्तां है ये, कहाँ शुरू कहाँ खत्म, वो मंजिलें हैं कौन सी, न वो समझ सके न हम. Are you wondering why I've started off with this song? Well, for this episode, this is the theme song, and the song was requested by my friend Khushbu Samnani. The reason I sung it was that these days now I'm getting nostalgic, and one of my cousins from Bangalore, Hema, she has commented on Facebook, and I'll read it out for you. लॉकडाउन के समय अजीब है, लोग बीते दिन पर सैर कर रहे हैं. Whoever I talk to is going nostalgic, and that sort of reminds us that there is a lot more to life than just brooding and feeling bad. Nostalgia has caught up big time. Enjoy what you have had. Things have not been so bad as we thought they were. Very true, Hema. Well said. All of us have memories, but it's strange that sometimes memories play tricks on you. So when I started these episodes, when I started the first episode, I thought I'll narrate some stories, and then I told you that I'll narrate stories about my childhood and stuff like that. All interesting experiences. Then in one of the episodes, the last episode, I started off with New Delhi Times. Now I even mentioned New Delhi Times 1. So the reason I mentioned that was that a lot of memories of growing up happened when I was in Delhi. I spent my school days, the best of my school time in Delhi, then went to college in Delhi, worked in Delhi. My first job was in Delhi for 5 years, and from 68 or 69 up to the year 1982, we were in Delhi. So a lot of my growing up memories are from Delhi. But I tell you, I had for the last 2 or 3 days, I'm having this weird kind of experience which I would like to share with you before I share any other story today. Now, there's been a kind of a battle of memories inside me. A bloodbath is happening, and now I'm rather confused about what is happening and why this sort of thing is happening with me. All this happened right after I began thinking that I'll share stories about my growing up phase in Delhi. Now, you remember when I started that episode, I told you that, to understand what has happened, I have to take you back to Chennai. Now, as it happens, when I was sleeping a couple of days ago, there's this vicious backlash of memories from Chennai. Now, I told you we used to stay in Perambur, and my father used to work in Avadi. Now, this Perambur and Avadi and other locations started, kind of abusing me. What do you mean, writing us off in just one sentence? I said, no, look, I don't seem to have too many memories about my stay in Chennai. So those memories of Perambur started shouting at me. What do you mean you don't have memories? Everybody has memories, and they stay hidden inside you. You have to just unlock those memories, and you unlock them only if you consciously want to unlock them. So you have to, my dear friend, you have to take out those memories, or we won't let you go further with New Delhi Times. This is not a story. No, this is actually happening with me. And to substantiate that, let me tell you, this the Perambur memory threw up a couple of songs or poems. In fact, childhood poems which I had heard somewhere. I don't even remember where I heard them, and I don't even know what those poems mean. So one of them was, it goes like this, There were three jolly fishermen. Fisher, fisher, men. Fisher, fisher, men. There were three jolly fishermen. The first one's name was Abraham. The first one's name was Abraham. Abraham, ham. Abraham, ham. This one's name was Abraham. No, it goes on like this and it ends in a very funny way. And the three of them lived in Perambur. Bur. Bur. Three of them lived in Perambur. Now, what do you make of this? Now, I don't know where I heard this, but this Perambur memory, this ferocious onslaught, it threw this up to me. And there was this another song which came up, this some kind of weird army song, I believe. The biscuits in the navy, they say are mighty fine. No, the biscuits in the army, they say are mighty fine. One fell down the table and broke a leg of mine. Gee, Mom, I don't want to lead an army life. Hey, Mom, I want to go. Show me the way to go home. What do you make of it? I wondered, whether these songs really exist, or is it just a concoction of my fertile imagination and suppressed memories. So I just checked it out on Google, and believe it or not, these songs do exist. The first one about the three jolly fishermen, it's supposed to be a scout kind of song. It's on YouTube. You can Google it and find out and listen to yourself. It's a very funny kind of song. It makes no meaning, but funny nevertheless. And the second one, the one about the army, that is also a very funny song, and there are so many hundreds of versions of that song which I found on YouTube. Now I would have played them out for you, but I'd leave it to you to figure out. So what I'm trying to say is, this Perambur memories, they played havoc with me. They said, no, first you talk about us. Unless and until you're done with Perambur, you're not going anywhere. You might have left Perambur in 1968 and gone to Delhi. But as far as this show is concerned, talk about Perambur, whatever you recall about Perambur, and then go ahead. So let me figure out, what I can say about Perambur. Now, I told you that we stayed in a house on Madhavaram High Road. In my child vision, we all have child vision. When we lived actually those places and we lived with those people, and we remember it exactly that way. So the house where I lived in Madhavaram High Road was a huge house. It was a massive house. Madhavaram High Road is a very busy highway. I believe even today it's a busy highway, more busy rather than before. So this house was located bang on the highway, and it was a huge mansion kind of thing. It was a marketplace. There were shops everywhere, and residential, commercial, semi-residential, semi-commercial, all. It's a hybrid kind of locality. And this house had a ground floor. On a elevation, you had to climb a flight of steps to get into that house, and it had a floor on top also. Just ground plus one, and a massive affair. Now this house had three entrances. There was one main entrance which I said you have to climb on a flight of stairs and go into the house. So that entrance was strictly for the owners. The owners were also, they were Tamilians, maybe Nadars or something, I don't know for sure. So the owners used that entrance. Now to the right, was another entrance at a lower level, street kind of level, and which led into a alley, in fact a gully sort of thing. एक गली सा था जिसके अंदर से घुस के आप पीछे के पोर्शन में you can access the rear portion of the building. And on the left of the stairways, you had another entrance which had a winding iron stairway, the old fashioned kind of iron stairways, a winding kind of stairway. And if you take that stairway, it will lead you to a house which was located on the first floor, one of the houses located on the first floor. Now this was the configuration of the house. So we lived in the on the ground floor in the last rear portion. So we used to take that gully, the alleyway. So I have some quaint remembrances of this particular house. So I'll first tell you about the owners. Now let's say that you took the flight of stairs and you entered the building. What you will see was a huge hall, a massive hall, and bang in the middle of the hall was a swing, झूला था, बड़ा सा झूला on iron chains hooked up to the ceiling. Okay. और उसके ऊपर जो है उस झूले के ऊपर हमारे मालिक साहब बैठते थे, एक पुराने ज़माने के थे, बुज़ुर्ग थे, और वो बैठ के अपना झूले पे हमेशा आप देख सकते हो कि या तो झूले पे झूल रहे हैं या बैठ के अखबार पढ़ रहे हैं, यूज्ड टू रीड मैगजीन्स, newspapers on it, and even sleep on that swing, in fact. So now this man was always bare-bodied. He never believed in wearing shirts or anything. He had that veshti, of course, the traditional South Indian veshti, tied half-mast with a towel on his shoulders, slung on his shoulders. So this was the sight which would greet you. It was a kind of permanent fixture on that swing, always. So now I'll tell you the configuration of this hall, the ground floor hall. Now on either side of this big massive hall were rooms. Now I don't know, I don't exactly remember how many rooms, maybe 3 on each side. And so in one of those rooms was a tenant. Now some of the rooms were let out. I think 1 or 2 were let out, and the others were occupied by the big family of the owners. Okay. So one of the rooms which was let out, it had a man called Mr. Vardachari. Now Mr. Vardachari is a Brahmin, as many of you might guess. So he was a Brahmin, and he was a massive man. No, as I remember it, it was massive because it was absolutely tall, fat, and he had a mountain of a paunch, like huge paunch. So big was his paunch that he used to wear a lungi. So the lungi, he could hardly tie the lungi around his massive tummy. So what he used to do is he used to wear a belt, a massive belt, the kind which maybe in Sholay you saw Gabbar Singh, कितने आदमी थे swinging around, that kind, उस तरह का बेल्ट पहनते थे, बड़ा मोटा सा बेल्ट था, क्योंकि उनका अदरवाइज वो लुंगी टिकता नहीं था, उनके पेट पे टिकना मुश्किल था. This man was, he was a giant, but he was a very gentle kind of giant, a very cheerful person. And I used to be small, and I used to go to his house and play around with his daughter. So this man, always he had this incurable pain in his legs. So he used to catch hold of anybody who could climb on his legs and massage it. As a small boy, I couldn't massage it with my hands. So he used to ask me to get on top of his, stand on his legs and jump on it. going up and moving up and down, up and down, up and down. And he never used to say stop. Now, until you are tired and you jump off his legs, he just you perhaps he would go to sleep or something, and he would always be murmuring, ooh, நல்லா இருக்குப்பா இன்னும் குதி இன்னும் வேகமாக குதி ஜோர் சே jump harder in fact that kind of thing. So this is one interesting memory which I have about the house. Now the portion in which we lived, I told you it was right at the rear end of the building. So my house also, I remember, was quite large. In fact, you had to you had to climb a flight of stairs to get into my house, into our house rather, into our house. And the moment you entered, there was this huge rectangular hall kind of thing. Not exactly a hall, it more kind of a veranda. It was leading to the hall. So then once you cross the veranda, there was this big hall kind of. At that time, it was all multi-purpose. There's no question of a drawing room, a dining room, drawing cum dining room, nothing of that kind. And there was this huge room which you can call a hall, and then there was a kitchen on one side, a big kitchen I remember, and on the other end of that hall we had a room. You can call it a bedroom, but again it is more of a multi-purpose room. So this was the configuration of our house, in fact. And at that point of time, I remember my father had two prized possessions. One was a Hercules bicycle, which was parked in the lobby or veranda, whatever you call. I don't know why he had that cycle, because I remember he used to go to Avdi on train only. Or maybe he took the cycle up to the station. The station was located maybe 2-3 kilometers away from our house, and then park it there and then go by train to Avdi. Could be. It's a guess, a speculation. Maybe my mother can clarify it better, or my sister can do it even better if they watch this episode. Now, anyway, that was one of his prized possessions, and more prized was his radio. Now, we had this German radio at that time called Metz, I think, METZ. I remember the name. It was a German make, that also I remember, because my father used to boast a lot about it. And it had this, it had a face with two knobs on both sides for tuning stations or something like that. And you had a piano, like some 4 buttons in the center. I think it was for short wave, medium wave, and stuff like that. It's on, off, maybe, yeah, on and off. So this radio played a very important role in my father's life, actually, because every morning I used to wake up to songs from Radio Ceylon. In fact, at that time, Radio Ceylon was very popular, and my father, interestingly, used to listen to Radio Ceylon for some reason or the other, which I can't figure out. And he used to listen to those old songs, Bule Bisre Geet or something, from 7:30 to 8, or I don't exactly remember. I think, yeah, 7:30 to 8 in the morning. So he used to switch on the radio and listen to those old songs. And you had songs by Begum Akhtar, and you had songs. The last song, the 8 o'clock song, just before it hit the 8 o'clock point, the last song used to be K.L. Sehgal. Ek bangla bane pyara, and songs like that. It was his favorite. K.L. Sehgal and Begum Akhtar were his favorite singers at that time, at least in Hindi, I remember. So that was his daily routine. 8 o'clock, come 8 o'clock, there was some English news or something, I believe, and then he would switch off and go to the bathroom, have his bath, get ready, and push off to office. And then the next show would start sometime in the evening, in fact, at night, to to be precise. And then 9 o'clock there was this. It was news time, the prime time. So 9 o'clock he used to listen to the news, 9 to 9:15, and from 9:15 onwards there was a program called Spotlight, which he never used to miss. So it went on till 9:30, and 9:30, it was time for him to sleep. So he would just switch off the radio. My mother would bring some milk. It was a compulsory kind of thing, some Ovaltine or Bonvita. I don't know what kind of stuff we used to drink, but we all used to have a glass of milk, and then my father would dutifully switch off lights. Nothing more. Nobody can do anything. No switching on of lights or reading or listening to the radio after 9:30, and we all used to go off to sleep. So this was the routine, and this was an unfailing kind of routine, day after day, morning, night. This is what. On Sundays, however, I remember, we used to. There is around 2 o'clock in the afternoon. There was this program, Bonvita quiz contest. Yeah, we used to listen to that Bonvita quiz contest, and again after that program, there was a Tamil program, Villi Pattu. Villi Pattu is a folk kind of song, and the song used to the signature tune song used to go like this. தந்தனத்தும் என்று சொல்லியே வில்லியில் பாட ஆமா வில்லியில் பாட வந்தருள்வாய் கலை மகளே. This song I remember, because every Sunday we used to listen to this program, and then I don't know what it was, kind of talk show, or I don't exactly recall what kind of program. So these are some memories of Perambur which I have. And I also remember Perambur. Now, I'm not going to get into details of it. I'm just telling you these stories to assuage my Perambur memory onslaught. The Perambur memory is a person in itself inside me, and I don't want to offend that person. So I'll tell these stories and get away from Perambur as quickly as I can. Okay. So I also remember Perambur because this is where my twin brother and sister was born. I think, yes, it was in Perambur that they were born. And soon after they were born, I think couple of months or 6 months later, we shifted to some other location, like Paper Mill Road or something, to another house. In fact, now the birth story of my twin siblings is quite interesting. My mother was pregnant for 9 months, as we all know. That's the duration of pregnancy, and these two kids were being born after a long gap, 10 years. I think almost 10 years gap between them and me, in fact, and 12 years between my elder sister and them. So it was a big occasion for all of us, in fact. So, and when the due date came for the delivery, my mother was admitted to a municipal hospital in Perambur, at a distance from my house, in fact. So I remember my sister and we had gone there, and we were sitting along with our ayah. We had an ayah. That too was an interesting person. Now, this ayah, she was like any other maid, nice and very well behaved. But what distinguishes her and makes me remember her was her large swollen legs. She had this filaria elephantiasis, or whatever you call it. So her legs were swollen and huge. So this ayah was there along with us, and we were sitting in the hospital and waiting for the delivery to happen. It happened around 11 o'clock in the afternoon, if I'm not wrong. So if I'm mistaken, my brother and sister and my mom and elder sister can always correct it. But forget about the timing. Yeah, it was somewhere in the afternoon, 11 o'clock, let's say. And the first child came out at 11 o'clock. I think it was my sister who came out, my brother who came out first. Yeah, we didn't know actually at that time. It was a suspense. We thought that there's going to be only one, either a brother or a sister for me. So at 11 o'clock, the nurse comes out and she says, "Yes, a boy is born," and we were all happy and clapping, and we wanted to see our mother. But the nurse said, "No, just wait. She let her recover. She's still in some kind of pain. We don't know what's happening." And she then went in, and 5 minutes passed, 10 minutes passed, 15 minutes passed, and we were worried. No, so was something happening to our mother? No, is she not well? Is she in some kind of trouble? But we couldn't go in and find out what exactly was happening. So around 11:20 or 11:22, I think it was a 22-minute gap between the first and the second kid. At 11:22, she comes out and says that there's another child and it's a girl. I was stunned. I don't know how my sister felt, but I was absolutely stunned. For me to believe that there could be a baby inside somebody's body was one kind of shock. It was information, but over a period of 9 months, I got to adjust with that information that all babies are born. I was also, in fact, inside my mother's womb in her belly, but this was too shocking. How can there be two babies inside that small belly? I thought that mother must have suffered a lot of pain in that. But at the same time, my amazement also turned into happiness at the thought that now we are having two. I'm having two younger siblings. A boy and a girl, a brother and a sister. So this is again one of the interesting experiences which I recall about Perambur. Now, there are a lot of others, but the Perambur person should be happy with this. So we'll end this episode on this note. And if I have more memories of Perambur, if it surfaces again, definitely I'll share them with you. And now, coming back to the reactions of people, my brother-in-law, Rama's husband, Rama, my cousin in Chennai, her husband commented saying that, look, I after seeing your program, I regret that I had not learnt Hindi. But please keep it up. It was very nice. To which my cousin retorted that I have been trying to teach him Hindi for the last 40 years. Anyway, that's why I took a bilingual kind of route. I could have taken a trilingual route also, adding Tamil, but I am not very fluent or conversant with my own mother tongue. Sorry to admit that. I am ashamed, but I can't help it. So that's why I keep slipping in and out of languages, these two languages, English and Hindi, to make it more speaker viewer friendly. And one more thing, which and my childhood schoolmate Ambi, whose name actually is Venkatesh Chari, he was gushing over one of the videos which he had seen. And he says, just keep it up, man, do greater stuff. And you have made me proud. I am proud that my friend is doing this and that. Thank you, Venkatesh. Thank you, Ambi. I have a lot of childhood memories about Ambi also, which we will see later. So, and apart from these, there have been a lot of other reactions and feedback. I thank all of you for keeping me motivated and keeping my spirits high. And now let's have that song, Ajeeb Dastan Hai Ye. This is for Khushbu. Well, as far as Khushbu is concerned, she is my work colleague. When I was working with a broking company, we worked together. and we shared many good memory while going to the office and coming back, because she also stays in Mulund where I stay. So in the morning, I used to pick her up in my car and then drop her back in the evening. And we used to share a lot of, we used to discuss on a lot of topics, mostly spiritual and wa- a range of subjects, just to keep ourselves from sleeping in the car. Yeah. So her full name is Khushbu Samnani, and as you might have guessed, she's a Sindhi. So one interesting anecdote, I asked her, why do these Sindhis, always use A and I, Ani, Samnani, Bhaktani, this Ani, that Ani? What's the, the story behind that? Yeah. To which she replied that, I am hardly a Sindhi यार, मैं तो कभी सोचा ही नहीं इन चीज़ों के बारे में. मैं तो I am a true cosmopolitan kind of thing. I don't believe in Sindhi things and all. I don't know much about the Sindhi culture. So I asked her the question. I didn't get the reply. So I thought, I'll go back and Google it. And yes, Google has answers to all the questions. And surely, it threw up the story behind that. Let me say that Ani means part, a part of God or whatever, part of the Almighty. Jhulelal is their deity. So all Sindhis consider themselves to be part of that, an ansh of that great power, in fact. So they use the word Ani at the end of it to respectfully, thank the Lord for letting him be part of him. So this was it. And while I was going through this Sindhi stuff on Google, a story kind of started creating in my mind, and I wrote a story called Nowhere Man, and I shared it with Khushbu. In fact, Nowhere Man was supposed to be a story about a person, a Sindhi, who is reminiscing about his life in Pakistan, and then uprooting his life in Sindh, and being uprooted and forcibly sent to mainland India in 1947, and his experiences there. So my idea was to bring out the background of Sindhis and their historical, and put a historical perspective to it. I don't know whether Khushbu read it or not, but Khushbu, here's your song, Ajeeb Dastan Hai Ye. And with this, let's sign off for this episode. I think I've spoken a lot, 33 minutes, too much, my God. Goodbye, friends, till we meet again. And keep sending in your requests. And yeah, Hema, I got your request. भूली हुई यादों मुझे इतना न सताओ. I'll try and sing that for you maybe in the next episode. Bye. Thank you for watching. Khushbu, at your request, I'm singing this song for you, Ajeeb Dastan Hai Ye. So let me just put it on. I'm just hitting the play button. Okay? Enjoy the song. अजीब दास्तां है ये, कहाँ शुरू कहाँ खत्म, ये मंजिलें हैं कौन सी, न वो समझ सके न हम. अजीब दास्तां है ये, कहाँ शुरू कहाँ खत्म, ये मंजिलें हैं कौन सी, न वो समझ सके न हम। ये रोशनी के साथ क्यों धुआं उठा चिराग से, ये रोशनी के साथ क्यों धुआं उठा चिराग से। ये ख्वाब देखती हूँ मैं कि जग पड़ी हूँ ख्वाब से। अजीब दास्तां है ये, कहाँ शुरू कहाँ खत्म, ये मंजिलें हैं कौन सी, न वो समझ सके न हम। मुबारकें तुम्हें कि तुम किसी के नूर हो गए, मुबारकें तुम्हें कि तुम किसी के नूर हो गए। किसी के इतने पास हो कि सबसे दूर हो गए। अजीब दास्तां है ये, कहाँ शुरू कहाँ खत्म, ये मंजिलें हैं कौन सी, न वो समझ सके न हम। किसी का प्यार लेके तुम नया जहां बसाओगे, किसी का प्यार लेके तुम नया जहां बसाओगे। ये शाम जब भी आएगी तुम हमको याद आओगे। अजीब दास्तां है ये, कहाँ शुरू कहाँ खत्म, ये मंजिलें हैं कौन सी, न वो समझ सके न हम। So that was it. I hope you enjoyed that song. Khushbu.